Hey guys, Kevin here. I'm still down at the lake house in Louisiana. It's been really cold this week, so I think I'm coming down with something. So forgive me if I'm offbeat, but I wanted to do this story about Buzzfeed. Buzzfeed is well known for putting out, cultural Marxist propaganda. They are constantly pushing anti-white, anti-male sexism and racism, and then calling anybody who criticizes their agenda the same. It's more left-wing projection. We see it all the time. But BuzzFeed's a company that has lost millions of dollars, and they've alienated most of their base. They are failing by every metric, as we've seen lots of companies over the past few years fail because they started pushing this anti-white cultural Marxist crap. So the name of this article is 37 Things White People Need to Stop Ruining in 2018. And let me go ahead and tell you, BuzzFeed is not talking about anything of consequence here. They're not talking about societal issues or the environment or the economy, because white people are making those things better by every metric. When you look at, white majority Western countries, there's a reason so many people who are considered minority populations get on boats made out of trash to come here and risk life and limb to come here to these white Western countries. It's because we are doing things to better society for everyone. But BuzzFeed doesn't care about that. What they want to talk about is hip-hop culture and stupid memes that no culture should be proud to have attributed to them. They're talking about things like twerking or the mannequin challenge. And as I read along this list, you'll see how the bigotry of low expectations is exactly what BuzzFeed is all about. They are the racists, and they're projecting their racism onto the white population. And that's what critical theory and cultural Marxism is all about. So they know what they're doing. So guys, I'll read down this list, and you can see how BuzzFeed is really stretching. Most of these things, there's no explanation as to why white people are ruining them. And it's really just a way for BuzzFeed to take pot shots at white culture, I guess. But most of these things have no consequence. And you'll see, like, number one, macaroni and cheese. That's nobody's dish to ruin anyway. Nobody has claim to macaroni and cheese except maybe Italians. Number two, protests. They say because Kendall Jenner and Pepsi did that advertisement that they ruined Black Lives Matter somehow. Well, no. What ruined Black Lives Matter was the fact that Black Lives Matter only protested when the cops were completely justified in shooting. That's the only time Black Lives Matter went out and rioted, was when people like Big Mike Brown robbed a store, then tried to assault an officer. When the cases were iffy or when the police were actually guilty, Black Lives Matter was nowhere to be found. And this is purposefully, because the fact is that Black Lives Matter is run by Marxist subversives and funded by people like George Soros and Tom Steyer so that they can stir stuff up between every election. And that's why right before the election, you saw all this protesting from Black Lives Matter. And now after the election's over, you see nothing from Black Lives Matter. It's just a front group for the Democratic Party to go out and stir up the black community and get people divided right before an election so they can go out and tell everybody, oh, Republicans are racist, they don't care about black people, when really the Democratic Party leaves black people worse off by every metric everywhere they have power. All right, number three is K-pop, because Koreans have never taken anything from Western pop culture. Four is sneaker culture. This one bothers me because if it weren't for the invention of shoes like patent leathers by Europeans back in the 1700s, and then, the American clothing companies coming up with what is the modern sneaker, there would be no sneaker culture. Most of the world would be wearing either sandals or going around barefoot if it weren't for Westerners. So the fact is that, white people invented this culture. And if white people are so dumb that they want to go out and spend $150 on a pair of Jordans that cost 50 cents to make, they're not ruining anything for the other population out there. In fact, they're showing that they're just as dumb. So number five is makeup, because, companies like L'Oreal and Max Factor, those weren't companies from white majority countries. No, they were founded down in Africa, I guess. Number six is trees, because why not? That BuzzFeed's already used so much science fiction here, they are going to go ahead and say white people are ruining trees too. Number 7, the United States of America. And then it goes on, 70% of voters were white, and the majority of them voted for Trump. Well, guess what? That's not ruining anything, BuzzFeed. It's making things much, much better. We're already better off by every metric under Trump than we were after 8 years of Obama, especially minority populations, especially the black community. And everything here is framed black and white, so we might as well talk about that. After 8 years of Obama, blacks were left worse off than any time since segregation. You know, by almost every metric. You talk about black unemployment, black youth unemployment, crime in black communities on the uptick after years of going down. You talk about black family cohesion, number of blacks on welfare. All of those things were left worse off because of Obama. And everywhere Democrats have power and blacks have voted Democrats into power, blacks are worse off. Meanwhile, after 1 year of Trump, 1 year, Trump has brought GDP growth back up, consumer confidence is way up, black unemployment is starting to finally go down, black youth unemployment has taken a huge dive down, finally. And so yes, Trump is making America better, and so he's not ruining anything, and so white people are not ruining anything by voting for Trump. They're making things better, BuzzFeed, but they might be ruining your channel because you thrive off of division between races. So number 8, the Oscars. Guys, the Oscars bend over backwards to pick black films and black casts to give awards to. They are like all about virtue signaling and affirmative action. So in no way are they ruining things for any other culture out there. In fact, they're ruining merit and actual integrity of art by doing that. The same thing with number 9, the Grammys. The Grammys, they picked Beyonce and Kendrick Lamar over the past couple of years for major awards. You know, these are not people out there to undermine minority communities. But the fact is that they really should try to go out and just give the award to the best artist, which would never be Kendrick Lamar or Beyonce. So number 10 is Migos, Bad and Bougie. And number 11 says especially bougie. I had to look this up, but they're trying to say that bougie, it's like a slang for, you know, the bourgeoisie. But here's the thing. The bourgeoisie is what the Marxists want to destroy. So BuzzFeed should be happy that whites are ruining the bougie. You know, I hate when they take those words and make slangs like that out of it. So number 12 is Anquavo's name. 13 is Kodak Black's tunnel vision. Number 14, 21 Savage's bank account. Number 15, Tupac's California Love. Number 16, Eminem's Caroline. So all of these are hip-hop dances. Number 17, also a hip-hop dance. 18, also a hip-hop dance. Number 19, the Millie Rock. Number 20, the Hit Them Folks dance. Number 21, again, the Hit Them Folks dance. Number 22, one more time for y'all in the cheap seats, the Hit Them Folks dance. So, basically the last 6 were just ghetto African-American dance moves, okay? And the fact is that, you know, these people are just a bunch of college kids and high school kids having fun, dancing lightheartedly. You know, it's not anything I would want my daughters doing. It makes them look, you know, sort of trashy. But it's just kids having fun. And they're not ruining anything for anybody. But if your culture is so concerned about maintaining the rights to some stupid dance called the Hit Them Folks dance, then your culture needs to seriously look into what it holds important and elevates as something that's structural or important to their culture. So number 23 and number 24 are challenges. Number 24 says any challenge, really. Challenges are just videos of people like pouring water on their head that's cold for a YouTube viral video. They're unconsequential and totally ridiculous anyway, so nothing lost there. Number 25 is car freestyles. Number 26 says basically hip-hop. Number 27 says classics like Destiny Child, Say My Name. Number 28 says the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air theme song. Okay, let's stop there for a minute. You see, all of these are rap songs, and then they say basically hip-hop, okay? But here's the thing. All those rap songs that they're saying white people shouldn't be allowed to enjoy, the majority of them have stolen beats and sampled music from white songs, from white music from the 70s. So if you want to go and make everybody have to write their own music and then keep that music, especially for the culture or the race that first sang that song or created that music, you're going to have some major problems, because that means people like Snoop Doggy Dogg and, Young Jeezy, they're going to have to go out and create their own beats from scratch and put in guitar music and all that from scratch. And I don't think they're up to that challenge. I'd like to see how well they do without stealing samples from disco music made by white folks. Number 29, Hidden Figures and Fences. And I guess they're saying that's because white people confuse the titles of those two movies. But the fact is both those movies received Oscar praises and nominations, and that just disproves their point earlier about the Oscars being ruined by white people. Number 30, hashtag Black Girl Magic, and it shows a picture of a shirt that says Black Girl Magic being worn by a white girl. Well, all that says is that if you're a white girl and you're wearing a shirt that says Black Girl Magic, that tells me you're trashy and I really don't want to have anything to do with you. And you're probably also really petty and stupid. But I don't see where, it's a sin or it hurts in one culture or another to wear that kind of shirt. Number 31, saying things like, yes, queen, and she snatched my wig. So I guess, using ebonics is ruining ebonics for black people because white people are using. If a girl said she snatched my wig or something like that, that just tells me to avoid her. If anything, they should be allowed to use it so we know who to avoid in public discourse. Number 32, joints. And it shows a picture of joints in a little pretty bag with a little card on them. I guess they're saying that drug culture should stay underground and we should keep incarcerating people for drugs. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. And making drugs commercials, ruining it for who? 33, chopped cheese. I don't know what chopped cheese is, but, again, going back to the dish thing, blacks wouldn't like if you took spaghetti and meatballs or fried chicken away from them and said, hey, this is a white dish. It's so silly. 34, childhoods. This one bothers me particularly because it's got a picture of an old lady asking, an old white lady asking Girl Scouts if they have a permit to sell their cookies. Well, if Buzzfeed had their way and we got the socialism that they want to push us towards, then, nobody would be allowed to sell anything. Everybody would have to have, a state license to go out and sell stuff. And children definitely wouldn't have a childhood. I've been in socialist countries. Kids there live miserably. They don't have a pot to piss in. Number 35, I agree with this one. Number 35, identifying as Filipino. And then they show that weirdo from Florida who thinks he's a Philippine woman. I don't think white people are ruining anything there. I think that's mental illness. And if BuzzFeed really cared about things like this, they would start talking about the mental illness in the trans community that leaves trans with a 45% suicide attempt rate. But, they want to use the trans community when it's in favor of their agenda. And then they throw them out to the wolves when it's not, like this. 36, identifying as black. Same thing. The left love these trans black folks like Sean King and Rachel Dolezal. But then they use them, like this when they want to push an agenda. So what is it? I have no problem giving the black community Rachel Dolezal, Sean King, and Eminem too. I'll throw him in for free. I don't want to claim those people. They're a disgrace. 37, and Googling things like white people ruin. So then it just shows a picture of some white people ruining things or questions about how white people ruin things. Totally pointless. And what a way to end their list of 37 things white people need to stop ruining in 2018, because it just shows what a big waste of cyber paper this is. BuzzFeed needs to really take a look at themselves as a company and decide whether they want to keep alienating the majority of their viewership or if they want to make actual journalism and thought-provoking articles that sort of have a diversity of opinions and show the changing shape of American discourse. But they don't, and they won't. So they'll keep putting out crap like this, and they'll keep paying for it.